तत्परम्पर्यय विद्महे ज्ञानलिङ्गेश्वराय धीमहि तन्नो गुरुः प्रचोदयात्। ओम योग महर्षि डॉक्टर स्वामी गीतानंद गिरि गुरु महाराज की जय। I'm having more than usual competition from the crows today. We had quite a rain yesterday, and so they are a bit overexcited. And so I've been trying to find a place where you can hear me rather than hear the crows too much. So that is why I've shifted place, and in doing that it's taken some time. They seem to have now calmed down. We have been looking at the human spine, and we have seen that we need to give it some good self-traction. We need to have hydration, and we have looked at a few movements that work on bringing the mind into certain parts of the spine, the lower spine, and especially the neck. So the lumbar and the cervical have been the more focused areas we have been focusing on. When it comes to the thoracic region, if you are doing proper pranayama, and if you are using all the 9 subsections, the vibhaga on the right and the 9 on the left, making up 18, back, front side, back, front side, back. So 9 sections on each, making up 18. If you are consciously and mindfully utilizing these sections, including the back and the side, automatically your 12 thoracic vertebrae are going to be in good health. Deep breather, and you are making sure that when you breathe out, what you are doing is you are giving a nice sense of mobility to the whole thoracic part of your spine. And if you are breathing properly and focusing on the pranayama, that should actually help more than what you need in any case. Of course, when you are doing practices like the Vyagra, the whole spine is coming into play. So it is not only for the lower spine or for the upper spine, the whole spine comes into play. So it's not really something to worry about in that way. Now there is another aspect I wanted to introduce today. We have looked at the, giving a good stretch, and then that feels good. We have looked at the Manduka, we have looked at the Gomukha, we have looked at the Gomukha variations. We have done all that, and just to make sure I get both sides. There are a few practices which again should be brought in, and these are related to twisting. Now, when we are twisting the spine, we need to make sure that we don't have too much of damage in the spine, because sometimes if your spine is in very bad shape and you twist, you could injure yourself. There is a hypothetical situation where you could injure yourself if your spine is badly damaged. So that is why I'm keeping the safer practices or the easier to do practices in the beginning. But even something as simple as, what could be done? And I'll give you a few simple things, because the moment you think of twists, you think of all these complicated practices that people do. But just something from where you are sitting, bringing the hand to the opposite knee. Okay? So, for example, because out of respect for tradition and habit, and so many articles are written on this, we normally twist to the right first. And this is part of very, very logical traditional methods, and not just because some teacher told you to do it. There's a whole article, you can Google it on the net and see. I've written about why we do the right side first in yoga, so I'm not going to go into that. But what I'm doing is I'm going to twist to my right. So what I do is I bring my left hand onto my right knee. The right hand I can keep behind to support. Now if you're in a chair, you could use the chair to support you. And what you do is that you start to breathe in, and you turn, you breathe out as you are in the posture, and you find an even more expansive twist. Again breathing in, And as you breathe out, coming back. Okay? Now the same thing. Your right hand on the left knee, taking the other hand behind you. Breathing in and twisting. Breathing out in the posture. The better twist comes in. Breathing in the posture. And breathing out. See, what we are doing here is that we are twisting to the right and twisting to the left, a very beautiful twist across the spine. And we have made it a 2-breath practice. So when we are doing our different practices, it is important that you understand a practice could be a 1-breath practice, a 2-breath practice, a multiple breath practice. I'm starting to sound like monosaccharide, disaccharide, polysaccharide, that type of stuff, but well, it's something like that. See, a 1-breath practice would be that you do this and you just breathe in and turn, breathe out and come back, breathe in and turn, breathe out and come back. Now, if we can do it that way, why should we have a 2-breath practice? In the 2-breath practice, you are able to extend yourself a bit more. That is why it is there. Okay? It is not because Dr. Ananda doesn't know what to do with all these people today, so he is making something up to pass his time. Huh? See, a very simple thing. What you are doing is that you are turning. When you turn on the in-breath, it's a little bit against resistance. Because you are breathing in, which is expanding, plus you are turning. That is why many people teach breathe out and twist, which again is easier, as you are going to see now. But it is actually not the proper way to do it. Okay, and now there are proper ways to do it and the easy ways. And Lord Yamaraja tells Nachiketa, choose the correct way, not the easy way. But anyway, we'll come back to it. I'm not saying easy cannot be correct. Okay. So when you twist and you breathe in, you're going into the posture. Okay. Now, in the posture, when you breathe out, what happens is now your thorax comes back to its, see, your thorax is like this when you are breathing in. Now it comes to that, and so what happens is in the posture, you can make that extra inch. It's the same thing, we did this and then we did that. You get that extra inch of twist if you do it this way as a 2-breath practice. Okay? See, people have no idea why they are doing it. And so, someone said breathe in and go, and then someone said breathe out and go, and who's correct? Well, both are correct. In their own context, they are correct. So don't take it out of context. What we do is that we breathe in and we go, because when you go with the breath, see, please understand the movement should always be with the breath. Okay? And so when you breathe in and you are turning, you are twisting, it is on the inhalation. But then in the posture, you are exhaling. So I'm here, then I exhale. And what happens is immediately I get a little more. I heard a few cracks in my spine actually. Then what I do, I breathe in there. Now breathing in there, what is happening? Your chest was compressed, you had given a good twist, you have gone beyond your level, now you breathe in. So from inside, you are creating a dynamic pressure change from inside, not outside. And that is why the use of props in yoga is always a major issue. And I know I have some of my dear students who love the props. You love your props, I have no problem. But because I love you, I have to tell you that props were never really part of the yoga tradition. And people say, the yogis use the tree branches. Come on, using a tree branch is very different than buying... Okay. So you don't need that. The internal pressure changes are more than enough. You have breathed in, you have moved with the breath. Psychosomatic harmony when you move with the breath. Now in the position, what happens? You have breathed out, you have gone deeper into the posture. Now in that deeper state, you are breathing in. So what has happened? You are in that posture, and from inside there is this beautiful pressure being given. And then as you breathe out, you are coming back. So you are keeping to the rule of breathe in and move, breathe out and come back. It is always breathing in and going away from the center, breathing out and coming back to the center. Breathing in and lifting, breathing out and lowering. Breathing in, moving away from the center, breathing out, moving back to the center. And that is why if you were to breathe out and move, you are going against that natural rule of the body. It is easier. And that is why people do it. They say, oh, if I breathe out, I can go into it. Yes, of course, yes. But what is important is when you breathe and you are moving, you are breathing with the in and you are moving. Now here you are doing that second part. What people do as the first part is actually the second part. They have taken the second part and made it the first part. Is that here you breathe out. You go deeper. Now you breathe in and you have that amazing pressure from inside. And then as you breathe out, you have got the maximum benefit. Then you go on to the left. Breathing in. Here you breathe out. Again breathing in. Beautiful internal pressure. And breathing out, coming back. So what we are doing is, just from a seated position, you could do it from the floor, you could do it from a chair. What is important? Move on the inhalation, stay, exhale in the posture, go a bit deeper into it, inhale there, and then as you breathe out, come back. Inhale and go into the posture. In the posture, exhale, go deeper into it. Inhale and have that inner pressure experience. Exhale and come back. So all the spinal twists, they are amazing. These spinal twists are amazing practices because they, see, we were looking at front and back. Now you are having this type of movement of your spine. And what you are doing is you are breaking any adhesions that are there. All the type of stuff that has got stuck up with the kapha dosha and the tamasika guna, which has got stuck and shouldn't be stuck. You know, there are conditions that develop called ankylosing spondylitis and others. And one of the issues is you start to have a spine that doesn't have any flexibility at all. Mobility, turnability, we have talked about that before. So this is one. Now you could do it in other ways. Another simple way you could do it is that you stretch your legs out. So now you have your legs out. I am keeping my feet to the front just so that I'm facing the camera. Normally, we would not like to keep our feet facing anybody. It's a sign of disrespect in Indian culture. And it is pathetic that even in modern India, we modern Indians, we have lost the understanding because the feet have a different type of energy. So excuse me for this. I'm doing it so that I can face you. I'm keeping it slightly away from the camera. So it's not like the foot is right in your face, okay? Though I have beautiful feet. Okay. What I'm going to do is I have my one leg stretched out. The other leg I've just bent it so that the heel comes into the perineal area, this area, the groin. Now the same thing I'm going to do that we did earlier. But now what you have is you have an extended leg. So what it's going to do is that it changes the way the dynamics occur. And the dynamics of physics change when you do that. Earlier you had cross leg, now you have a stretched leg. And again what I'm going to do is take my left hand to the right knee, right hand is behind, and the same thing, breathing in. Now in the posture, breathing out, going a bit deeper. In the posture, breathing in, and breathing out as you come back. Okay, now the opposite side. Stretching the leg out and the opposite leg into the groin. Hope you're all with me. Okay. Now the hand to the opposite knee. The other hand behind me. Breathing in and twisting. Breathing out and twisting further. In that position, breathing in and breathing out. It's a very beautiful practice. What happens is the moment you change the way your leg is, so you have cross-legged and then you have the stretched out leg, what you do is that you change the way the fulcrum is, you change the way the physical displacement occurs, and the twist is very, very different. It's a very interesting way this happens. You could go further and keep this straight. Okay, so now it's a flat foot. Rather than being down, it is here. And again, you could have your hand here, or you could bring your hand around. This gives you an even better twist because now this is starting to compress the abdominal area. So you have another type of pressure change as you breathe in, twisting, breathing out, going further, Breathing in and breathing out. Small distances. When you did it like this, it was different. When you did it like this, it is different. When you do it like this, it is different. And you can start to feel the changes happening in different levels of your spine. Let's not forget to do it on the opposite side, okay? So you have your leg stretched out, you have the knee up. Again, now what we are trying to do is bring our elbow to the other side, so that what you're doing, you're getting a good compression here. This is the compression, one more pressure change. Okay, ready? Breathing in, breathing out, going further. Breathing in and breathing out. See, each of the movements has a slightly different effect. When we now had our leg like this, okay, when we had our leg up, what happened is, because we were bringing our elbow onto the outside of the knee, there was a pressure on the abdomen. So initially when you try to breathe in and turn, it's even more difficult. But then when you breathe out, it's amazing. You just get that beautiful sense of a twist. And then in that position, when you breathe, not in just the chest, in the abdomen also, you feel that pressure, the internal pressure changes. See, part of the yoga practice is to become aware of the body in a very conscious, positive manner. Most of the time, people are only aware of the body in a negative manner. Oh, I have a pain in my chest, so I know I have a chest. I have a pain in my head, I have a headache, and so I know I have a head. My ear, I never know I have an ear until it pains. I never know I have teeth until they pain. So pain is a negative awareness. And most people, due to pain and due to disease, they have a negative awareness of the breathing or the body. For example, people who have breathing disorders are very aware of the breathing, but it's a negative awareness. So in yoga, whenever we are doing the practices, we want to develop a positive awareness. This is part of Pratipaksha Bhavana. Instead of a negative body awareness, you want to develop a positive body awareness where you are experiencing what the body feels like. So when you do these postures, it's not just about turning and looking good for the camera. There's an entire group of asanas which are the cover photo mutant variety of asanas. For example, if I were doing this, I was telling you, what we need to do is that, when I do this, I need to do this and I need to turn and, I'm breathing and doing. And then the cameraman says, Dr. Ananda, it doesn't look good on camera. So will you please give a beautiful smile to everyone? And this becomes my cover photo. The no twist. You go and look at any yoga magazine, all these glossy magazines, and you look at the cover and you ask yourself, is this really an asana? And 90% of those images are what I call the cover photo mutant varieties, where there is no twist in a twist, there's no bend in a bend, there's no stretch in a stretch, because it is all about looking at the camera in that smile. Speaking of that, I have to share a joke with you. When we talk about asana, we often say sthira sukham asanam. So people say an asana should be stable and you should be at ease, sukham. So they say when you do an asana, you should be smiling. Now see, the idea is, from inside, when you feel at ease and comfortable with yourself, you can be natural, and your natural state should be a smile. But whenever we have our Yogasana competitions, and yes, we have Yogasana competitions, which are a variety of yoga. It is one of the branches of yoga, and it's called yoga sport. Now they want to call it Yogasana sport. But in it, we have found a lot of benefits. There are drawbacks. And it's a very good tool to reach the young kids and motivate them into yoga. And through our work, we have been able to actually give them a lot of direction. So people who have seen our work, they will know it's not just a gymnastic competition. But what we have found in many of these events, often they do become gymnastic competitions. I do not deny it. And I have been fighting that for the last more than 3 decades, where we have elements of yoga theory coming into it so that the children know that yoga is more than just asana. And many of the children know much more than most of the big yoga teachers, I would say, when it comes to that. They really prepare well. But in many of these events, what happens is the teacher, or sometimes I call them the coach, the yoga coach, yeah, has told the kids, when you get into the asana, you have to give a big smile. And so this kid get into this complicated asana, get into the asana. It's just so artificial. It's the same type of thing, this cover story, cover page mutant asanas. So one has to be careful that one knows what one is doing. You are doing it for yourself, not for somebody else. So when you are giving these twists, and these are the very basic twists that you can give from a seated position, there are multiple varieties, but remember, you can explore and do so many things. But for health of the spine, a simple twist is more than enough, along with the stretches that we have been given. Now we can also do a very dynamic stretch and a twist that we do from the standing. So I just show you what we do, and it's a very very useful thing to do. Is that you stand with your feet slightly apart, and what we start to do is that we start to swing from side to side. This is a very good way, and if you can do it with your breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, what you are doing is giving a very nice, soft twist to your spine. Now, this is one part. Now, what you can do is you can work through your whole spine. That as you move, you now start to bring your arms up a bit. So you can see my arms a bit out, up to your shoulder. Now you're working up your whole spine, going up a bit further so that you're going up a bit more to your spine, coming up a bit more, and finally, as if you're doing the thala, a good stretch. Then again, keeping that movement going with the breath, bringing the arms down. What we are doing is very consciously, very mindfully, we are trying to work through each and every one of those vertebral joints. And now when you come down to the lower back level, start to let your hands go and hit the other side. And you really will feel the twist right down into your sacral area. That last of the lumbosacral vertebrae, lumbar 5 and S1, you should be able to feel that. Again, breathing in, starting to come up your spine. Very nice sense of opening up all those intervertebral joints. A very simple movement, very safe and very nice. And giving a good stretch across your whole spine. Going through it. Beautiful stretch there. And then starting to come back down. As if, take your mind in and as if you're moving down each and every one of those joints. C5, C6, C7, C8, C8, C9. Sorry, C8, C9. T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8, T9, T10, T11, T12, L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. L5, L4, L3, L2, L1, T12, T11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, C7, C6, C5, C4, C3, C2, C1. And a good stretch. C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8, T9, T11, 12, L1, L2, L3, L4. A very simple harmonizing practice. In fact, it's again that same. You remember we talked about the Thuli and rocking the baby in the swing. Huh? It is actually really a wonderful practice. The kids love it. When we are working with the kids, this is a beautiful practice. And what you do is actually I just feel a very beautiful sense of energy moving up and down my spine right now. And it's very calming because it's a very soft movement. You're doing it with the breathing. And you are actually going on a journey through your whole vertebra. It's like what we call a Danda Yatra. Danda is the walking staff. Danda in Yatra is a walk. Now, normally we do a spinal walk in our tradition where we walk on another person's spine, and it's a very beautiful practice of the tradition, the spinal walk, Danda Yatra. But this is like a visualized Danda Yatra where you're visualizing a movement and up and down the whole spine and giving this light. It's not vigorous at all, so it is quite safe. And again, the person within the limits is doing it. And there's that whole sense that the person becomes positively aware of all the 33 vertebrae. And now, of course, below the sacrum, the coccyx, you miss it. That's why it's sort of the last one you are really aware is L5S1 is sort of the last one. But other than that, you are actually working through the rest of them, the 5 lumbar, the 12 thoracic, and the 7 cervical. You can actually start to work with it internally. It's a very beautiful contemplative practice. Some people would call it a dynamic meditative practice if they want. For me, I use the word contemplative practice. And contemplative practices are very grounding. So it's a very grounding practice. So today we have been looking at a bit of twisting of the spine, and we'll continue with our work as we go on tomorrow also. So have a wonderful time, keep practicing, and keep enjoying the benefits the practices give you. Hari Om Tat Sat.